Hello. Hi. How are you? Are we starting now? Can we do it? Shall we do it now? Alright, we're going to do it. Just going to drink a bit. Hello everyone. How are ya? You alright? So my name is Richard Cabut and I'm a writer, and I started off working in the music press at the NME, which may be relevant because, as you probably know, the other Richard Bellia, worked for the Melody Maker roughly around the same time, actually, which is kind of nice. So after that, I worked for the BBC and wrote plays and worked for the Nationals, and these days I write books mostly. There's one called Looking for a Kiss, which is a post-punk novel. One called Disorderly Magic, which is kind of modern literature, and they're both available here actually. But today I'm going to talk for a brief 5 minutes about the work of Richard Bellia, and which I'm very, very pleased to do. And then we're going to have a conversation, and you're going to hear Richard talk about all manner of subjects. And then there's going to be questions. You can ask Richard questions, anything you want, you know, test him. What's the capital of Peru? That kind of stuff. And then he can sign stuff for you, prints and books. I think they sold out actually. Tim and Chris.
So you can buy the book.
Yeah. More books are coming. They're coming right now from France, because that's where Richard comes from. I'm going to start right now. This is a little bit about Richard. And first of all, though, I'd like to say thanks to Dash the Henge, which is a really essential, vital hub, community and wider cultural hub. It's a brilliant place. And, thanks to Tim and Chris for organising this. Thanks for your service, guys. And I'm gonna start now. And this is what I'm gonna say. The English eccentric is now a pretty exhausted model, and to be invited to meet a character these days is to experience a sinking feeling as a crashing ball heaves into view, displaying some feebly imitative tricks of speech and behaviour. But a French eccentric is a different story entirely. And I'd like you to meet one tonight. Richard Bellia, who has come to talk to us all the way from his hometown of Annonay. Is it Annonay? Do you live there?
Yep.
See, I've done my research, Richard. I've looked you up. And that's near Lyon, isn't it?
Correct.
Let's see. He's pretty much the real thing, without airs or graces. He's a total original with a persona far from today's sanitised, platitude-laden arts world, not work. He is one of our wildest, most exciting, prolific, and moreover, most meaningful music photographers, period, in fact. We won't limit him. He started as a rock scene snapper, and since the 80s, Richard has photographed, well, just about everyone. I'm not going to list them, although some websites do list, I think, everyone. It goes on for ages. And who's your favourite? Because Richard would have taken a photo of him and her. I'll bet you a fiver. He also does a nice eclipse or two, don't you, Richard? Yeah, he does. His kaleidoscopic vision is brought together with an ambitious, free-flowing narrative in his 800-page book, Un Oeil sur la musique.
Un œil sur la musique.
No, so I said, Richard.
Un œil.
I said it exactly like that. I've had coaching from Laura, my partner, who she's a French speaker.
Un œil sur la musique.
1980 to 2016, and that translates as an eye on music. Can you say an eye on music?
Sorry. Un œil sur la musique.
The book weighs in at 5 kilograms, and I've actually heard Richard refer to sales in tons rather than copies sold, which I kind of thought was kind of street cool. He was like a dealer. How many grams do you want? You know, how many tons do you want? And it comprises over 1,000 pictures compiled from its extensive archives, and it's a startling collection. And people are well advised to pre-order it. It's great.
Yes, they are.
Where am I? Yeah, I was going to say the book is available here and now, but it's not. But the prints are. Hey, Richard will be happy to sign those for you. Although we know that size doesn't matter in the end, it's what you do with it, right? You know, that's what everyone says. I mention the book and its largeness because anyone who looks through it, and be careful, because Richard actually told me off for kind of looking through it the wrong way and breaking it, and I thought, you know, will quickly realise that as a photographer, Richard is a few different things. One, he is a crazy gonzo image hustler. And I'm fairly sure he won't mind me calling him crazy, because I mean that crazy in the sense of a gloriously, creatively unpredictable guy. Which is good, which is a cool thing. I think the best people are, really. And, well, the best artists. Maybe the best people as well. He is also an astute photojournalist looking out for a story, and he is also a fine artist. All in one neat, if large, package. And he tells a good tale, as you will soon discover. I'm building expectation here for you, Richard, so, you know, be ready. But he started as a music photographer in the early 80s, inspired by The Clash and The Cure. He was a fan, and is a fan these days. And he wanted to immerse himself in the scene, positioning himself close to the story, part of the action. Be in the scene rather than just an onlooker. And this is my kind of definition of gonzo, rather than the whole Hunter Thompson drug thing. But, well, you know, there could be that as well. Anyhow, he was and is perhaps seeking not truths of static facts, but those of lived experience. And it was this intimacy which led to a creative liberation and desire for the freedom of expression, which helped formulate a unique style, I think. This was not well-paid work, and anyone who worked for the music press in the 70s and 80s knows that, on the contrary, it was barely survival rates. But we all did it with a passion and dedication because we loved the music. And this is the key to understanding the roots of rock photography and the guys who did it, and what distinguishes them from other professional photographers. You know, we did it for the love, didn't we? No, you know, and the ego, a lot of ego, but mostly the love and the ego. But in any case, rock photography is now seen as an art in itself, and has given us, you know, it has a dignity in the genre, and the work can be seen in museums. And I think Richard is one of the people who helped make that happen. With a casual and frank yet thrilling insight into several decades of popular culture, Richard's work has a distinctive, candid approach, his determination and ingenuity allowing him to capture moments many of which can now be described as iconic. The point is, though, that as Richard's work progressed from the simple rock stuff to photojournalism to fine art, he took that love of the fan for his work with him. And he now mixes everything up together in a multidisciplinary way, which is kind of cool. And he also does work for kind of fashion people like Agnes B and others, I understand, which is also cool, right? Enigmatically glamorous art, but still pop, mysterious, but right in front of your eyes, and full of its very own sense of style. I think in all cases Richard's aim is to tell stories, which is important. Understanding and connection, these are great things about art, and arise from something that is not a matter of taking things at face value, but as a matter of interpretation, and it's the narration that leads to understanding. And I guess this goes beyond simple aesthetics. And well, I'll finish by talking about. Have you ever looked at photos? And they cause a kind of indescribable feeling in you. Has that happened? Because it's happened to me, and it happened to me, and I'm not kidding. When I was looking through the book, Richard's book, and it made me kind of wonder why. And I sort of came to the conclusion, although these things are an ongoing sort of, mental investigation, I suppose, that the power of the photo, and it kind of lies in manifest subject, maybe, meaning, context, everything that belongs to kind of history, culture, even art, but also something else, something that indelibly touches us, and it's subjective, and it's perhaps different for each viewer. And these kind of details, these kind of feelings, I think they're outside of any intentional narrative. And these are the elements that capture our emotions and which take the photos outside of form and into the realm of intensity. And this is something that Richard has in abundance in a French eccentric kind of way. So I'd like you please to welcome the inimitable Richard Bellia. There he is. These kind of static photos, and one of those static photos was actually of Bobby Gillespie, wasn't it?
Correct. Yeah.
I thought we'd start off by talking about that because, well, we're in Camberwell, so why not talk about bloody here and now?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your kind work. Thank you. The photo you're talking about is the two Bobby Gillespie photos that are on this shelf here on the left, and they were taken on the top of the street in Camberwell Grove. That's 2 streets down. And the photos were taken in June 91 when they did Screamadelica, their famous records for those who know Primal Scream. I'm sure you know them. And it was for a French magazine called Les Inrecuptibles, who famously made very long interviews. So what they wanted is to have like a cool place to make a 2 hours long interview with Bobby Gillespie, and this is how everyone ended up in my front row in Camberwell, right? And so I took photos inside and outside, and with the same camera here, with this same camera here, the Leica M4. So it's very, very sharp images. And the photos were used for the cover of Tenement Key, I believe, yeah, correct? The book that he did. You want me to tell you a few things about this photo, specifically?
Kind of, but I just wanted to tell people that photo is actually taken kind of, because one of the things that surprised me was that Richard lived in, 206 Camberwell?
210.
210. But I lived in 200A at the same time, and we never met each other. We never talked or anything, which is like really weird. And that photo is, you can see my house from on that photo, which is the weirdest thing ever. Which I thought there was kind of some sort of magic involved here. I think wherever you go, Richard, magic follows you around. But yeah, you can tell us a bit more about the photo if you want. Or I think the thing that you should tell people is what Bobby Gillespie did with his bum in that photo.
Oh yeah. I've got a couple of stories with this photo, so that's Bobby Gillespie who decided to have this photo used, and. He was on Creation Record. He had the same label as the House of Love, who actually live in this street, right? This was when I met him 2 years ago when the book came out. I said, "Oh, by the way, Guy Chadwick of the House of Love just lived down the road," and so Bobby Gillespie says to me, "Are you telling me that on this photo I am showing my arse to the singer of the House of Love?" I love this photo even more. It's my joke. But it's true, it's true.
It's because Bobby is sticking his bum out down the road. So he's sticking it out to the House of Love.
And specifically, also, vraiment specifically, if you look on the back of this photo, it's the photo that was used in the press at the time. Like I was working for Libération, the newspaper, and this is the print that was used in Libération. So on the back, if you look, you've got the date it was used and the percentage, like because they make it big, And if in fact, I realized that this photo was like one full page, and it was my birthday. It was my 30th birthday party. So like
on the day that you took the photo.
Yeah. On the back of this print, you've got the date of my birthday, and it says 170%. They made it really, really big. Yeah.
What is your birthday?
18th of January, sir.
January.
Yeah. You want more information about me? I am 62-year-old. I was born in 62, and I am 62 kilos.
Okay. That's too much information. We don't know that. But that's great. That's a great story. Happy birthday for that. What are you, like a Capricorn or something like that?
I don't know.
You don't care, do you? You don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. Okay. All right, then. Well, listen, we're going to talk about a few other photos, like two or three, which may be important in the scheme of things. Maybe more if Richard wants, or if you want. It's what you want that counts. Okay? You just have to shout. I wanted to kind of like take it right back to the beginning, though, And I was reading, do you know a photographer called Don McCullum? I bet you do, don't you?
Somebody told me about, I know it. I'm really sorry, I need to go to the toilet.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to talk to these guys out here. Do you guys know a photographer? Don McCullum. Okay, I'm going to talk about Don McCullum soon. Can I just ask you, people, is it mostly people from Camberwell here, or is it people who've kind of travelled? I'm sort of interested. Are you locals or what?
Crystal Palace.
Palace? Sydney? Palace?
Downham. Can't afford to live around here anymore.
Downham, yeah.
Economic expatriate.
Yeah. But you got roots in Camberwell, have you?
I lived in Brixton for 30 years.
Right. I bet you used to hang out in the Albert, Prince Albert, right?
Yeah. I've been thrown out of the Albert.
Probably for good reason.
Running.
Running?
Pat could be fierce sometimes.
Yeah, I remember her well. Rest in peace. Yeah, cool stuff. No, I was just interested because we were talking about Camberwell. I just thought, well, perhaps people don't care about Camberwell. kind of means a lot to me. It's brilliant. I lived here from the kind of mid-80s till the late 80s. It's a brilliant place. Richard's here now, and we're going to talk about Don McCullum thing. We're not going to talk about anything about Don McCullum, but I was reading about Don McCullum, and he said, this is what Don McCullum said. He said, "I never really wanted to be a photographer. In a way, photography chose me." And I wondered, does that resonate with you at all?
Totally. Totally. I thought it was very convenient, like a way of expressing myself. I thought it was like very convenient. Yeah. I tried maybe guitar or even piano for half an hour one day, and it's so much discipline. There's no way. And then one day I tried a camera, and photography is. I insist on that. Photography is the most accurate graphic art existing. You know, you can draw, you can do blah blah blah, painting, whatever. But if you do photography, you immediately produce the most accurate visual art existing, right? It's like as if you were buying a guitar and you just have to tune your guitar, and then you are a brilliant guitar player. You know what I mean?
Okay.
When you have a camera with a lens, you only have to adjust a couple of things, and instantly what you produce is fucking phenomenal. When you buy your guitar, you tune your guitar, and then you have to learn how to play your guitar. With a camera, you load the camera, you just have to adjust 2 or 3 settings, and then, bam, immediately it's as if you were like, it's really, really sharp.
I think you're a natural. I think, I mean, you know, I've taken photos. They're not like yours.
So you have to learn what you are looking at, like the light. Well, the more you practice, the better you at it. Of course, of course.
Yeah.
And also, you're not supposed to, every time you take a photo, you're not supposed to make a good photo. Otherwise, they would not sell a 36 exposure film. And if they would sell just one, you say, oh, I need to make a photo. Okay, I've got it, you know what I mean? But like, then they sell 36, so you've got the right to fuck up, you know. It's written on the box, literally.
Yeah. That's great. I wish it was the same in writing, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
I know this is exactly the reason why I chose.
You do photography.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I might
the people who make photography very often they say the same thing. The result, like like I was going to say instantly, but your writing, for instance, it may be after 20 years you say, shit, I didn't write well, or this was well written, I don't know, something like that. You know, you can have an eye on your work. It takes time. Photography, you see it instantly again. I
look back over the stuff that I've written and think, why can't I write like that anymore? You know,
exactly.
What's happened?
Exactly.
But so I'm kind of interested. You started taking photos. How did you get your first kind of professional work? How did you get your first professional gig?
This was in 83, 4, 5. First in my region in France, in the northeast of France, where I've taken a couple of photos that were published in the local newspaper.
Right.
And then in the summer of 85, I came to London. I had followed The Cure for the most part of 85, 80, 81, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I was following The Cure.
Just not taking photos, or taking photos?
Taking photos and talking bullshit. Yeah, just that. and in the summer of 85. The Cure, they rented the Hammersmith Odeon to rehearse for a world tour, and so I was there for 1 week every day going to see the Cure. I had a Cure concert for myself every day at 2 p.m. For 1 week. There were 3 people in the venue. There was the guy doing the sound, the guy doing the light, and myself listening to the music, walking around and stuff like that. Okay, and during that week in London, at the same time, I went to see the Melody Maker, and I said, "Look, I've got some photos that I took in Greece and in Switzerland in that summer already," and so they published some of my photos.
That's
so
great.
like literally, I was out like your average person going on holiday and spending 1 week in London. Myself, I spent 1 week in London. I see 5 concerts of The Cure, and I've got my name in the British press.
Yeah.
Say, fuck it, I'm staying.
Yeah, well, fantastic. That's great. And well, you just pitched up at the office and said, "Here I am, I've got photos of The Cure."
No, alors, I did like Professeur Tournesol in Tintin. I don't have the reference.
No, it's got a different name, but I don't remember his name. In Tintin, there is the old scientist, which is like a little bit...
There's a crazy scientist in Tintin who has a shark-shaped submarine.
Okay, that
And he
rings
says,
that rings.
"Hey, I have a shark-shaped submarine for you." They say, "No, we're not interested." "Okay, we can have it next week." No, we're not interested." "Okay, well, if you insist, I give it to you tomorrow." And this is how they end up with a shark-shaped submarine in Tintin. So myself, I did the same. I called the Melody Maker and I said, "Hello, I am French and I am a photographer and I have photos of The Cure." And they say, "So did we. "Okay, I can bring them to you." But they say, "No, we were on the deadline now, so you cannot come. We're very busy." "Okay, well, I am around the corner, so I can come this afternoon." No, but like we don't know. And I said, "Well, I look on the map and you're only 200 meters from here, so I will be here in 2 minutes."
That's brilliant. I told you he was a hustler. You got to be a hustler in this life, otherwise you're not going to get on. So,
But I choose the Melody Maker because the Melody Maker was the one who sort of liked The Cure more than the Enemy.
Yeah, no, the Enemy were kind of they were a bit above all of that, weren't they?
No, you get it wrong. At the time, I was 23 years old. My English was shit, so I could not afford both Melody Maker and me. Read the whole sheet, understand it, and say, "Oh, this one is better than this one."
Yeah.
It didn't work like that.
You didn't care, right? I got you. Well, yeah. Well, good on you. And then you went round, you took it, and you never looked back. I was going to ask you. I mean, at the time, those kind of music press days, you were reading the music press.
Yeah.
Right. So, which photographers were you kind of inspired by? Any of the photographers happening in those days? You know, Anton Corbijn or Jill Furmanovsky or whoever. You know, did you have any favourites?
Anton Corbijn is a really famous photographer. For those who don't know, he makes a lot of black and white. He's famous for his work in black and white with bands like Depeche Mode, U2. Like the aesthetic, it comes from this guy mainly in his photography. And I use the same camera as Anton Corbijn, and we use it differently. For a very simple reason. You can have the photo either sharp or out. Your part of your image can be either sharp or out of focus, and it's a beautiful camera. So it's really interesting to use this energy of the lens to have progressively something is sharp, something is out of focus, something, you know. And Corbijn, he doesn't care. He has either really sharp or totally out of focus. It's a little bit like if you imagine AC/DC. AC/DC, they use the best guitars, the Gibson. They have beautiful sound, you know, like harmonic, beautiful. And what do? They plug, put distortion, and go.
E-chord. Yeah.
Voilà. And so the guy at Gibson who makes the photo, he says, no, And ACDC go, fuck you, tu vas regarder, look, 80,000 people like it. So I see Anton Corbijn as like the Angus Young of photography.
Yeah, well, I think you're nicer than Anton in any case. I remember, I worked with Anton Corbijn as well, and I thought he was kind of a little bit arrogant.
And also, I only met him once, and I met him once, and I say, oh, I've got Hasselblad, blah blah blah, and I say, oh yes, I say, what film do you use? Black and white, X, okay. How do you develop your film? And he goes like, I don't know. We suppose.
Yeah, no, he's kind of he was arrogant. But in any case, are there Cure fans in the audience? You all left the Cure. Whoa! So listen, what have you got any kind of secrets about Robert Smith that nobody else knows that you can reveal to the Cure fans in this audience?
No, alors you filming you. How many? There's yes, yes, I do.
I'm on tenterhooks, and so as everyone else now.
No, but like literally to answer specifically about the Cure and my photos with the Cure, I have been.
He's not going to reveal anything.
No. I really think that I am very, very grateful that the Cure allow me to take so many photos of them, whereas I work for nobody. And also I'm late, so they see my photos 20 years later, sometimes shit like that. So I'm really, really grateful. And
deadline's not your thing, then.
Sorry?
Deadlines aren't your thing.
No. I stopped working for the press because deadline I'm not good. No. But I finish answering.
Yeah.
Of course, part of our relationship is I'm not bragging, or I don't take photos of Robert like that, haha, type of thing.
I've seen one of you.
No, it's not me. I didn't take it. But like generally speaking, I don't know. And like funny, I've heard really funny stories, but I would like. This is not the right place, of course.
I told you he wasn't going to read it.
No.
So there. But yes, okay. But in any case, there are photos of Robert in the book, and that leads me to the book, which is an extraordinary artifact. Actually, I mean, I've described how heavy it is, and heavy in every single way. I think artistically and physically. But listen, tell us a bit about it, because I mean, not everyone is going to produce. Well, in fact, no one apart from you. Is going to produce an 800-page book of their work. I mean, wow, it's kind of amazing, isn't it? So what made you go down that road instead of a curtailed version?
I can explain this briefly. Yeah. I had in mind totally 100%. I wanted something that people would say, wow. And I wanted also, because I take also always my photos in different places. So my bet was my photos are not going to be boring. It's not studio shot one after the other, or like Reading 1991, 92, 93, 94, or some shit like that. It's important that I travel and I take my photos here and there. Bonjour. And the first bet was 800 pages book, really big. It's not going to be boring. I have something to tell, right? So this was my idea, and also I knew how it would start, and I knew how it would finish. Like from my town in Lorraine, where I grew up, immediately moving to the punk rock and the Clash, and the Sex Pistols. And again, I'm very grateful that I had access to this this place where the Sex Pistols used to rehearse in Denmark Street, and
we're going to get onto that.
And that was the beginning of the book, the Sex Pistols and the Clash, and from my hometown.
Right.
And I knew that the end would be Serge Gainsbourg, because when there's nothing else, when there's nothing left, there's still
always Serge.
There's always Serge. So I had my beginning in my hand, and then from that I said, well, I'm going to fill up. So I made a crowdfunding. I wanted 750 pages, and since the crowdfunding went well, I said, oh, fuck it, I add 50 pages. So if you look at the end of the book, there's quite photos of friends, beautiful people, musicians saying goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. There's 800 pages, and we say goodbye. I say goodbye for about 40. The last 40 pages, we say goodbye.
Fantastic. I might. This book is sounding so good. I might even buy a copy. It's I won't actually, but no. I mean, it sounds great. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. The other book that I saw of yours, it kind of it made me laugh because it's actually got a picture of Cynthia Plastercaster on the front of it. I don't know if people know who Cynthia Plastercaster is, but she was kind of like this 60s, 70s, 80s chick from America, and she took casts of rock stars' penises and displayed them as a kind of work of art, I suppose, really. And it was cool, and it made me laugh because I actually kind of by chance sat next to her on a plane from Heathrow to New York once, and we kind of talked all about it. And I was kind of disappointed in her choice of bands when she came. I said, "Are you over here to do bands?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Who have you done?" And she kind of mentioned all these really terrible bands, and I was kind of like, "Oh my god!" And I said to her, "Well, I'm in a band these days," but she wasn't biting. But Richard, did she take a cast of your penis?
No.
Did you want her to?
No.
He's saying no too much, so he's protesting too much.
I didn't ask, she didn't ask, so we just what do I remember of Cynthia? Well, I had an exhibition in Chicago, and she came over to my exhibition, so I said, chit-chat, you Cynthia, no, let me go to your place, please, I want to take your photos and everything. Because all the cast she had are made of plaster, so very fragile, so she doesn't travel with them. So if you want to photograph the plaster cast, you need to go to her place. What do I remember? I remember a very funny person, because she said to me, Jimi Hendrix told me that this is art, and I should make more of them, so I will employ you, so you will become the babysitter of my kid Drizzle. And then the manager of Frank Zappa, he says, yeah, but art? Frank said, this is art, it's fragile, if anyone steal it from you, what's going to happen? Give them to me, I have a safe. Now the manager of Frank Zappa has all the cast in his safe, and Cynthia, she wants them back, okay? She takes him to court, but her mother doesn't know that she was sucking all this dick at the time, okay? So she's on television, and she doesn't want her mom to see her. So the court case of Cynthia, she's got a wig and glasses, and her lawyer is the guitar player of Big Black who played with Steve Albini.
Seriously.
Oh yeah, and also I remember.
Did she win?
Yeah, she got it back. And also what I remember is she said, I give you some time, so can you pay for the photos that we took? And she asked me $100, and I gave him $100. As I leave, she's running down the stairs like me to go and get her medics to the to a shop because she had a treatment and she didn't have the money.
Right.
So this is the only time that I ever paid somebody for photography.
Right.
And it's and also the one thing I know that absolutely everyone in Chicago adored Cynthia Plaster-Caster. She was like the mother of.
Yeah, she was a very nice lady, very nice person. Rest in peace, Cynthia. Artist and you're kind of amongst sort of the only kind of photographers really from that time who combined art and journalism into your work. Do you see yourself as do you kind of separate that off? You know, art, journalist.
I see. Okay.
I mean,
okay.
do you?
I do. In my opinion, I do photojournalism.
Right.
I just document what's happening.
Right.
I do, and certainly not art.
Not art.
Like I cannot be in front of the singer. I cannot talk to the singer of the Ramones and say, "Excuse me, could you ask your girlfriend to pretend she's giving you a blowjob because I want to take a photo and I'm an artist." It doesn't add up. I do not see me as an artist.
Yeah.
It's full stop. I see myself as a photojournalist specialized in music. That I like.
I think some of the photos in your book, though, perhaps not the rock ones, they're definitely artistic works as far as I'm concerned.
In my book, there's a percentage of photos which are not photos of musicians or photos of artists, but rather photos of landscapes or events.
Yeah.
And that's a percentage in my book. Yeah. Like for instance, I managed to go in you take the underground in Paris, but I managed to go under the carriage. So you take a photo of the metro like from under. Or landscapes with eclipses also, because you only have so little time to take your photo. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, tell us a bit more about eclipses actually, now that you mentioned it, because Richard, you guys perhaps don't know, but Richard is also a fan of eclipses, and he goes around the world taking photos of eclipses.
I photographed eclipse for 30 years. I started in 1995, but there are so few eclipses. Like being an eclipse fanatic leaves you a lot of spare time. There's one. For your information, the next eclipse is going to be in 2026. That's a year and a half. And in London, 92% of the sun is going to disappear on the 12th of August around 8 p.m. Okay? So what do you do with 92% of the sun that disappears? What do you do in London with that? So there's two things that are really, really funny. The first thing is you really have to consider that the sun is like so big, and when you walk in the street and you have the light of the shadow of the sun, you see your shadow is kind of soft because the sun is really big. And what happens when 90% of the sun disappears? You only have like a croissant of light, and so you have like so little light that what's going to happen is your shadow is very, very sharp. So you really want to find like a wall and look at your shadow and appreciate, like you see your hair, the details of your hair, your shadow is incredibly sharp. So that's at the maximum of the eclipse. And the second thing is, like if you take a piece of cardboard and punch a hole, like a small hole, and you've got like the entire universe that goes through this hole and is reversed upside down and gets projected, right? So this is how you can see the eclipse with a piece of cardboard and you punch holes, right? Now, suppose you've got a machine with many holes punched already. Suppose like a pasta strainer. A pasta strainer is wonderful because if you light yourself through a pasta strainer, you've got all the patterns for every hole. You've got a pattern of the eclipse. Okay, so it's funny because you make your whole studio, you've got like all this da 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 da. That's the machin. So and you take a coat because the temperature goes down a lot because 90% of the sun disappeared. So that's in London in August 26th.
Okay. Well, should we all kind of meet here?
No. The eclipse total is in Spain and Portugal. So if you want 100% of the eclipse, you go to Portugal or Spain.
Okay. No. We're not going to Portugal to meet you for that. So you're blaming me. Should we talk about another photo? I just wanted to make there's a kind of like, let's make it a serious for a bit. This is a serious thing. There's a guy called a thinker called Roland Barthes or Barthes.
Roland Barthes.
And he said the best photographers were able to wound the onlooker. I kind of get what he means, and one of the things that he means is kind of.
You understand?
It kind of. He gets it.
No one understands. So if you are the only
he kind of gets it. But one of the things that it kind of resonated in regard to your book is I think one of the penetrating themes has to do with photography and mortality. And I'm referring to two photographs of in the book, and they're kind of extraordinary. And the first one is taken from the stage or in front of the stage, and it's of an audience, of a rock audience, and there's the focus of it is this one particular guy, and he's like, typical fan, and he's going, ah. But then further on in the book, or is it the next photo, or is it further on?
Yeah, it's page 300. I think.
Yeah, you see, he knows what but there's a photograph of the same guy's arm, and this guy's dead, and he's lying in a mortuary, is it, or a bed?
It's just
and
prior to cremation.
yeah, and it's kind of extraordinary. It kind of goes even beyond those kind of memorial uses that photographs have long been put, and one thinks of Victorian mourning portraits or the profusion of post 9/11 mementos, but this is something else, and it really reaffirms that theme of death. Perhaps you'd like to talk a bit about that, Richard, what the background of it is and what it kind of meant to you. It's extraordinary.
So, your name is Richard and my name is Richard, and the person you're referring to was also called Richard, by the way, right? So that you know. Lou Smith, I think you photographed him already, you filmed it, right? He was a character who came from Long Beach, California, in a rough area, and he was the only white guy, and he was like small, and he thought he'd find himself a name, and so they called him Crazy White Sean, S-A-E-N, Sean, and he had tattoos all over, right? And I think he lived in a very rough area, up to the point that at some point I think people broke into his place one too many times, and he got involved in, like, I don't have the details, but I think there was like, I heard knife, not gun, but knife. In either way, again, I'm not, this is roughly what I say. His mom said to him, get the fuck out of America, this is not good. So Sean left Long Beach and he settled down in Amsterdam to smoke joint all day. And in the process, he stopped in England and he went to Castle Donington, where AC/DC were doing this live at Donington
Park.
In Donington Park.
Park.
Voilà. And in the afternoon, before AC/DC, it was Metallica. It was a very good day. and he was in the front for the Metallica concert. I even asked him, how do you get in front of the audience? There's 80,000 people. There's 80,000 people in a field, it's raining, you're small, you know, and every 80,000, everyone wants to be in the front. You know, how the fuck, how do you make, you know? You will help me find a word in English. Here is protecting gum when you play boxing or gum. So thank you. So he said, no, you just put a gum shield, and you look at people with crazy eyes, and they're very happy to let you where they really are. So and then my photo was used for one book previously that was given to friends of his through friends. Likewise, you and me being neighbors in Camberwell, like the same story with my friend in blah 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 blah. And in a few weeks after my first book came out with this photo, I got a mail from him. And at the time it was MySpace, and he asked me if we could be friends on MySpace. And he said, "You will Google my name." Myself, I've become a bit of an artist too, and in fact, his name was Crazy White Sean, and it's like fucking. It was like with like a wooden, with wood. You give him a stapler. And a table, and he takes his testicles like this, and with his job.
I hope you can take pictures of that.
And after that, when it was my 50th birthday party, he came to perform his show in Lyon. It was funny. And then a few years later he died, and this is the 10th anniversary. He died in 2014.
Right.
So I went to Amsterdam to meet all his friends for his funeral.
Kept in touch. That's really cool.
I'm Facebook friends with his daughter, his wife, the people who are living in squats with him, his mother.
Extraordinary. Yeah, check them out. Check the photos out. They're really well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course.
Beyond. So listen, it's kind of like gone 9 now. Why don't you just tell people what's next? We're actually talking outside, and then after that you guys can ask Richard questions. But one sort of final question from me, and we were talking outside, and you said that you were saying you dreaded kind of people. You saw people who you perhaps admired, or celebrity musicians or artists, and they're always talking in the past about stuff in the past, as though it's all kind of over, and it's kind of over. But it all happened then. And you said that you dreaded seeing it, and it's a question of retaining kind of energy and that fandom. And how have you done it? You have retained that energy for culture now.
No, because it fucking scares me. You have on radio in England this guy called Steve Lamacq. I think he's very respected. Yeah. Okay.
There's Steve Lamacq fan.
Okay. He's going to make the most interesting television radio program with impeccable taste in music. The guy, it's a real pleasure to listen to him. Yeah. And then, in the middle of his program, he's going to say, the 80s, the old days and shit like that. Yeah. Come on, we don't support.
It's now, isn't it?
It's now. When you do you don't want to be like bragging about the past. Oh gosh! Whenever I hear them saying, in the 90s I was doing this and this and that, and no, tais-toi quoi. Vraiment, this pains me. Yeah. I hate it when the past becomes your job. Yeah. Dealing with the past becomes, if I make sense, right?
Yeah.
You speak better English than me, right?
Well, But you didn't like my French accent.
Yeah.
So listen. What is the future for you? What are you going? What's next for you? What are you doing? What are you doing next?
What I'm doing now.
What's happening?
What I'm doing now. Like currently, I have a court case in France.
They caught you, did they?
No, I admitted people to court. I was, the story is kind of incredible. People, like scriptwriter for a comic book, interviewed me, and after that they came up with a comic book, and it's the story of a guy, and it's me. Like, it is a fucking big publisher. They made a comic book, and they fucking took my life, and they want to make a movie out of it now. And the guy is like literally is my age, like a skinny guy with long hair, black, taking photos from my village, going to photograph the Cure and the Clash, and he said he's going to become a music photographer in London. I mean, come on, it's fucking me.
So So you're suing the guys?
Sorry?
You're suing the guys for licking your life story?
Yeah, because in the story the character has my life because he is very revolted, and he is revolted because his father punches him in the face. The father doesn't like Arabs, it's written 3 times in the book. The father, he drinks. The mother, she complains that her husband doesn't fuck her enough. The photographer is being called gay, poofter, and fucking foreigner. And in this context, the guy discovered photography, photographed the Clash and the Cure, and that's because of all this fucking background that he decided to have my life. So I did my life because I like music, and not because in their fucking mind my racist father was punching me in the face.
Is it a kind of like a big court case with a jury?
It's a fucking big court case. It's a huge publisher. Yeah. It's a really big publisher. And they want to make a movie out of it now, and they will not.
Okay, well, good luck to Richard for the court case, and we're with you.
And also I have exhibitions here and there that I keep coming. In terms of my plans for exhibitions, it's like 6 months ahead on time. So I'm working on the exhibitions in January, March, April next year.
Beautiful.
This is what I do. Voilà. And I have, and then maybe I stop talking. Maybe you're bored with my voice.
We could listen to you for a long time. Is there any exhibitions in England that we can see?
No. This is my exclusive friend. I'm not looking for more friends.
No. What if everyone wanted to be your? What if everyone wanted to be your friend, Richard? What would you do?
I didn't hear your question.
What would you do if everyone wanted to be your friend?
No, but like in England, it's absolutely wonderful that there's this place with this energy in fucking Camberwell.
I know. The place where you live, where we live.
It's beautiful. It just makes sense that I do this here. Now the second thing is I have a gallery in my town in Annonay. It's a gallery that I opened now 2 years ago, and this is literally like an extension of my front room with all my work.
Well, seriously, it's in your house.
Yeah, well, it's literally, I split my house in 2. I've got my little apartment, and all my music and my photography is my gallery, so I listen to my vinyl. It literally is this. I mean, my gallery is this. Instead of vinyl, it's my photo, and my vinyl are on the shelf, literally, and my computer, it works, because my computer doesn't work. But apart from that, it's the same thing.
So we can all come there to see you at your gallery. We can all turn up.
Welcome, welcome. It's complicated to.
Can we all stay the night?
It's ghost town.
All right.
Nothing's gonna happen.
You see, we've all been invited. That's brilliant. That's great. Annonay, write it down, everyone. Listen, Tim, how long have we got before we have to shut down?
I've got a question. What was it like hanging out with the Wu-Tang?
The Wu-Tang. How was it like hanging around with the Wu-Tang? Alors,
That's great.
Alors, I was not. I was only told 2 or 3 days before that I was going to go to Los Angeles to do photos of the Wu-Tang, and the week before, I was taking photos of an eclipse. There was an eclipse in March '97, and it was in the north of Mongolia. So you go to Ulaanbaatar, and after Ulaanbaatar you drive half a day, and that's where the eclipse was, right? So picture that you go from there to Ulaanbaatar to Moscow to Paris, and when you arrive in Paris they say you're going to Los Angeles. So I had 18 hours jet lag. So I don't know.
So really we want to ask the Wu-Tang what it was like hanging with you.
Yeah. Ask them, yeah. And specifically, I spent like sometimes with what's his name, idiot dirty bastard, and I took a couple of photos, and I took 3 photos with.
Did you call him dirty or bastard?
I think, sir. Yeah, it's hello, sir. You say welcome to people. It works all the time. They say, oh, thank you. They find you nice. And this photo specifically was used after he died. Old dirty bastard died. It's the 20th anniversary. He died in November 2004, so this is the 20th anniversary of his death. And after he died, his widow tried to get the rights, not of ODB, but the image of ODB, the post-mortem image of her husband. So she starts suing the mother of ODB, and then she sues every woman who had a kid with ODB. She was 13. Okay, well, his name is Old Dirty Bastard. He's got 13 kids. It makes sense, come on. So he died in 2004, and after all this court case, only in 2007, his wife announced on the internet that she had a deal for posters and T-shirts with a publishing a management that was going to deal with that, right? So from 2008 to 2014, they did T-shirts with this photo specifically. And I managed to stop them in 2015, and they made $500,000 with my photos. And I figured out that if you can make $500,000 in 1/60th of a second, so you multiply by 60 $500,000, and you've got the amount per second. Okay, you multiply by 60 again. You have per minute, and you multiply 60 again, and you've got your salary per hour. And I think that
I'm definitely in the wrong.
If I can generate $500,000 in 1/60th of a second, if you employ me 1 hour, I buy back the Brexit shit. I just like sort you out. In 1 hour.
Richard has saved us from Brexit. Any other questions?
No, sorry, because we're in a record store. So I managed to get them to stop making T-shirts with this photograph, and then what happened is one idiot, he made a drawing out of my photo, and the photo was stolen by the Wu-Tang in the $1 million record that they did. Like you've all heard there's a $1 million record, yeah. And inside this record, there's this photo of ODB drawn by a guy, and he was taking the Wu-Tang to court, saying, how dare you use my work? I said, you fucking idiot, what did you do to me?
There's another question. What did you want to know?
If you were to find an album here, it would be your #1 album
the like album that I very much like.
What would it be?
Yeah, but we were drinking a beer together,
were.
and they were playing songs of a Lost World by The Cure. This is the answer.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but literally the new Cure record I absolutely adore, and I was looking around.
No. Yes. There must be something else.
Well, he doesn't know what's here.
The songs in the Key of Life record is pretty good.
No.
Although I think that the problem I think with this record of Stevie Wonder, I think, is the dynamic of the sound. You know, like a record is like this and it spins, right? Okay. So if you at the beginning of the record, 1 second of sound is push, one, you know, like 1/3 of the vinyl. Okay. So if you listen to the very beginning of the song, you've got a lot of dynamic, and if you listen at the end of the groove, for 1 second of sound, it's not this much groove, it's that much. So there's a tiny less dynamic at the end of a vinyl, and I think that in the songs in the Key of Life, they've got songs that go like, no Black Man, typically, it's a black man, you know, they put it at the end of the vinyl, and I think the dynamic is not so good. Okay,
Everyone's a critic. Huh? So, any other questions?
Yeah, well,
There's loads.
What is the process for you? You said you are a photojournalist, and is it you who decide who you want to go and photograph, or is it like, I don't know,
assignment or something like that? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, typically, I don't work for anyone any longer, really, except for myself. So, like, I call and I say, "Excuse me, can I take photos of this band, please? I would like to." For about 20 years, I stopped talking to the press. When we switched from franc to euro,
Okay.
I stopped talking to the media. I remember this.
Do you have an agent that arranges
Well,
this
yes,
stuff?
there is an agency. There is an agency in France who distributes photographers in music. But like, as we all know, it's only like literally this agency generates like literally 300 pound per year when it's a good year, because my photo doesn't generate much press. Well,
Right.
so.
Next question?
yeah. In a photographer's career, right at the beginning of it, there's something that happens quite often, like, say, for example, the family take you seriously as a photographer and they ask you, would you shoot the wedding? Yeah? And you say, oh yeah, you shoot the wedding, and you forget to put the film in. Do you have any kind of thing like that that's happened to you? Like, you didn't shut the door properly, the light came on?
Every week.
So I have, but no, yeah, sure. Like, if you want me to tell me about when I fuck up, yes, I fucked up many times.
Anyone would do.
When did I really fucked up? There's this guy called Serge Gainsbourg that you probably know, and I was really lucky to spend one whole day with him, and it was that day with another French singer that I know most people in England don't know. His name is Alain Bashung. Alain Bashung is a very specific career, I mean, if you had an equivalent of this guy in England, you'd be like, you would have collapsed. Alain Bashung, very specific, right? So I spent one day with Alain Bashung and Serge Gainsbourg, and I fucking never managed to. I was kid, yeah. I never managed to say to the two guys, "Excuse me, can I have you two together?" For like, I was 22. I was like, oh, okay. Now in 2018, I bump into a girl. We start talking. I show her my book, and I show her and she says, "Oh, my dad." I say, "What?" She's the daughter of Alain Bashung. It's really sad. His name was Keith Levine. I went to Keith Levine place exactly 8 years ago, in November October 8 years ago. I remember it. And he was the guitar player playing with the Clash, first guitar player of the Clash, and then played with Public Image, right? And he was explaining me this, like, you know, how do you play Public Image? You know, and I'm like in front of him, and I'm asking him just to do like every like pattern to play Public Image by Public Image, you know. And I've got like this camera, and he was left-handed. He was left-handed, huh? I think he was left-handed. No, right-handed. So his hand, and I'm literally making photos of the fingers of this guy who made this such a great riff. Public Image by Public Image is awesome. And I'm going like chichi, and he's literally showing me on an acoustic guitar. And this film again I developed wrong and it didn't work. So do you go like tu vois, voilà.
Crazy, it happens. Well, anyone else want to know anything? You want to know?
Yes, slightly serious, apologies, but what are your thoughts about AI and technology and the impact on photojournalism and
No,
Zero thoughts?
No, but like what can they do to me? Like the digital industry and shit like that. What can they do to me? Tu vois, genre. I don't know. No. Like, also because I do analog, and every print in the darkroom is like tons of decision and and the photography paper I use is called Barita paper, and it expands when you develop it. It gives really good quality of image. When it dries, it shrinks back, and this is why the black on the photo is so black. It's not on the surface, it's inside, you know. Like all the digital technology is the same level. It's 1 and 0s recorded on sand, specifically, right? And the photography with Barita paper has a thickness, you know. It's fake, it's alive, it's vibrant. I don't know about this digital shit.
What it sort of means if somebody scans one of the pictures,
Yeah.
and or like your book just scans every picture in it, and it's kind of accessible.
Yeah.
That means it can be plucked at by the new technologies and stolen from you.
Stolen what? You know, like okay.
I mean, it's for anyone creative has the same issue.
Yeah. My problem is when people steal my work and make money out of it. Tu vois? We have a room full of people, and yourself, you very kindly say that my work is inspiring. So if we, you know, it's logic that maybe intelligent artificial is inspired by my work.
So are you saying you don't give a shit?
No, completely.
Yeah.
It's the only way to be.
Yeah.
She doesn't. Yeah.
Am I French enough for you?
I told you it's a French eccentric. That's great. Guys, unless anybody else has a last question, it's time to thank Richard very much for having him talk.
Thank you very much. And of course, thank you to, of course, Dash because of course. We ordered some books. They will be here in the middle of the week next week. And there's a closing party on Friday. Thank you. Hey.